He ran down the corridor and saw 6 Daleks coming up the ramp. So he ran back up the ramp, but was met by another 6 Daleks. "I really feel this might be the end," the Doctor muttered. Suddenly, Benton came dashing round the corner. He pulled a ring on one of the grenades and then threw it in his bag. He tossed the bag at the Daleks and ran. The bag exploded, and the Daleks coming up the ramp were completely destroyed. The Doctor jumped off the ramp and onto level 6. He and Benton ducked and dived to avoid the pursuing Daleks. On level 6, more Daleks were coming. Benton handed the Doctor his Ogron gun, and they both heavily fired at the approaching Daleks. After a long battle, the Daleks on level 6 were extinguished. The Doctor looked over at the controls. He couldn't see anything that would stop the Daleks. Then he noticed another door at the end of the level. He used his sonic screwdriver to open up the door. Inside, there was a horrible smell. The lights flickered on, and the Doctor stood back horrified. He stood there for a moment, observing what he can see. He sonked the door shut and hurried Benton along. "What was it, Doctor?" Benton questioned. "My dear Benton, if I told you that, you would never be a well man again. We've got to find the TARDIS. I must get in contact with the Time Lords." "Why, Doctor? What is it?" "If you really want to know, Benton, inside that room, the Daleks were operating on human brains. I just saw a soldier's brain being injected with a chemical known as Loneheart. When the chemical is applied, the brain can begin to evolve into something unimaginable. The procedure was banned by nearly every planet. Whole worlds would be destroyed when the mutation became something they couldn't handle. In short, the Daleks are experimenting with other life forms, which is something my people do not tolerate." "Halt! You must be exterminated!" Benton fired his gun, but there wasn't enough power in the gun to destroy it. The Doctor and Benton pushed the Dalek down the ramp, and it caused it to explode at the bottom. Meanwhile, in Brighton, a TARDIS materialised. The TARDIS has landed on Brighton Pier. The TARDIS doors opened, and out comes Barbara, Ian and Susan. They look around and spot a seagull stealing someone's chips. Ian begins to chuckle. The Doctor comes out of the TARDIS and taps Ian on the head. "Don't laugh, my boy. How would you feel if they were your chips, grumbled the Doctor. "Now, my dear, why don't you go along there and see if you can find a newspaper or something that will tell us the date?" "OK, Grandfather," answered Susan. "So, Doctor, you're not sure if this is Christmas or not?" inquired Ian. "Well, my boy, I am getting on a bit. I'm not as young as I used to be," muttered the Doctor. "Grandfather, it's the year 2011, Grandfather," Susan reported. "Splendid, my child!" "What date?" 18th of December, she replied. "That's today." Good. Then it's Christmas," announced the Doctor. Back in the control room, the Brigadier was being interrogated. "What is the population of Earth?" asked the Dalek. "If you think I can tell you that, you're sadly mistaken," grumbled the Brigadier. "You will answer! You will answer!" snorted the Dalek. "For Earth I shall not! Kill him!" Suddenly, time froze. The Daleks disappeared, and the Brigadier as well. And now, here's the final part, which I've just written. Yeah. I've just written the last part, and it's a bit rubbish, but I can't be bothered with it anymore, so here we go with the last part. On Gallifrey, the sites were being observed by the Time Lords. "We must send the soldiers back to their planet." "I shall do that, Commander," said the first guard. "Excellent. The Daleks must also be sent back to their own planet." "I've already done that, sir." "Excellent. Then all is well." Meanwhile, back in Brighton, Ian and Barbara were posing as a married couple in one of the picture boxes. "Doctor, how old is that camera?" "Never mind, Chesterton, never mind." Suddenly, it started to pour down with rain. "Well, I suppose we're in Brighton," Barbara said. As they hurried back to the TARDIS, they saw a young boy who had slipped on the wet floor. "Come on, Doctor, We must help him, Barbara demanded. Hello, my name's Barbara. What's your name? I'm Grant McCluskey. The Brigadier was in hospital. His head was bandaged up, and he'd been allowed to leave by the hospital. He got out of his car and walked up to the main door. He stared down at something in the bushes. He couldn't quite make out what it was. Suddenly, it sprang out of the bushes and clinged onto the Brigadier. It was a car-led mutant. Fortunately, Benton charged out of the building and ripped it off him. He then proceeded to shoot the thing till it was dead. Come on, sir. The headquarters have been badly hit. They walked into the lab, and the Brigadier was shocked, as everyone jumped out and shouted, "Surprise!" The doctor handed him a glass of wine, and they all continued on with their festive celebrations. And that, my friends, is the end of the Hunt of the Daleks. And here's a note to my friends on YouTube who are doing that video for me. Videos in by the 20th, please, about, the dancing, if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, tell me now, because I'll cancel it and get rid of it. But I probably won't, but I will. So, yeah. Obviously, Raven will still be in it, but it'll just be me and Raven dancing, so it'll be a bit funny.